Yeah, I might just have to one-shot this guy. I'm not even sure. Wait, what? Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being there. We're doing awesome. Love you guys. We're doing great. So remember, if you can't say fuck you to your friends, who can you say fuck you to? Fuck you.
Does it have a good flow
It's
overall?
the idea of like not being able to see the trees from the forest, right? And it's like the same thing as like snow blindness as well. Bunch of different ways to say it, but the idea is that, and like for me, the main thing is like the things that are obvious. It's not, I guess the best way to say it would be like the types of trees in the forest. So you see all the trees in the forest, but are you thinking, oh, this is a maple, so I should say that's a maple. Oh, that's a pine, so maybe I should say that's a pine. Oh, that's actually a bush, so maybe we should say that's a bush. Oh, those are flowers, you know.
Snow blindness
like,
is when you do so much cocaine you go blind, right?
having text on the screen as like notes to copy out is so helpful. That's why I have the subtitles on, so I can just copy straight from the subtitles like we were doing yesterday. Yeah, here. Intrusive thoughts. So, this is one of the short stories that we're gonna write eventually. This is like old school. This is like really, really, really old school. And every day there's that red button looming on his desk. And one day he just wakes up in a bunker. And no one knows how World War III started. But yeah, he just wakes up in a bunker surrounded by like, you know, special service and stuff like that. Like, oh my god, you're awake. Holy shit, what happened? Like, the world's ending. Unless you like know them and you're like good friends with them or something, or it's like a family, you know? You know, that random person. And the fact that she banned you means you're a fucking random person. I have no control over it, guys. I just wanted to know when the ads popped up so that I could like stop the stream, because people would sometimes be like, oh, I missed that because of ads, and I was like, what do you mean ads? Now it tells me, but now people are saying they're getting laughing in a way that makes me think this is on purpose. No, it's a side effect of something that I did on purpose. I turned the announcements for ads on, and I'll show you guys exactly what happened since I did that. Pretty fun day. I mean, Zoink was going crazy, but, you know, maybe he learned a little bit of his lesson, so it's okay. It is what it is. There are times and there are places, and there are not times and there are not places, as you well know. Anyways, remember, I love you guys. You guys are fucking awesome, and we will be back again tomorrow, as always. So, if you can't say fuck you to your friends, who can you say fuck you to? Fuck you.
Well, with
How was your day, Talk? My day was boring as balls, Smokey, but we're here now, and that's what matters. I guess actually it's today. Like, the good thing about starting the stream at 12:30 a.m. is it's a brand new day, guys. So my day is fucking amazing because I'm here, I'm streaming, you guys are here, we're having a good time. We've almost done the react, and we're not even an hour and a half into the thing. You know, we're fucking popping off, bro. We're gonna kick stories ass today with some shit ass. We're gonna type a fucking storm of fucking shitty dialogue. You don't see if you don't teach. Yo, what's good, everyone? We back at her again. How's it going today, everyone? A little fucked. So yeah, it's a little bit of a rough day. But hey, we'll get through it, right? Just fucking power through it. So, in that case, you just want to get right into it then, Mia? Get her out the way. You're right. Get all the hard shit out of the way, and then we just sit back, relax, and pass the fuck out. I mean, what?
Yeah, so we're not sure on the original name of the original thing. Like the first nation that blew up the entire fucking world. So fucking hot here. Yeah, it's like 32 degrees Celsius here. It's like 105 or something like that, 106. It's fucking retarded. Because it's based off of like Canada, right? So it's like Carnadia. And then the like first Menos, like Menos before Menos became northern, central, and southern. So I wasn't sure to call it first Menos because it's going to be referred to that as like the first stage because that's like a historical reference, but the people at the time just called it Menos. Like the entire place was just Menos. It was the last standing part of civilization, right? And there's like the question of was it there already and protected? Because there is a possibility that like this is where the goddess and Akasha fucking like lived. Like this was their fucking research station. And that's why like everything's fucked up inside of it. Right? So it wasn't even that like the Pope and the King built it, because they present it to like rival in like the hierarchy as they're the ones that built it, right? Or like it was like they're the progenitors of the ones that built it, right? Like their fathers who figured everything out like 300 years ago. But I don't know how exactly they're going to present that, because everything's been changing around the machine and how it works and who built it, who did what. Use Kelvin degrees. What's the Celsius? Okay, I gotta actually, because I know. So for instance, for transferring between, we're just gonna confirm it. For transferring. Or what's the word? For I guess we would say changing temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, something like XC equals, or I guess I'm gonna, it's 9/5 plus 32, or is it 5/9? I don't remember. Yeah, CX 5/9 plus 32 is Fahrenheit to Celsius, and then Celsius to Fahrenheit is 5/9, right? You just swap. That's like 0. So then what's the actual equation? So it's Fahrenheit minus 32. So it's where you put the minus 32. So in the first equation, it's plus 32 after the 5/9. For Celsius, Fahrenheit, it's Fahrenheit minus. So if it's 105, you minus 32, right? Which would be 70. Wait, no, 83. And then 5/9, which is half. So whatever, a little bit over half of that is, right? Yeah, so like, but I don't know. So what's the equation for C Kelvin? Oh, it's just plus. So it's literally just plus. It's not even a thing. But Fahrenheit. Does Fahrenheit have an equation? Well, do you know what the difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius is? Yeah, so it's the same Fahrenheit minus 32 with 5/9 plus. Because they're just literally inverted, right? One Fahrenheit used like the inversion of mercury, whereas Celsius used the normal, right? And that caused the base to be 0. Because originally the base 0 for Fahrenheit, right? But it's because Fahrenheit wasn't based on, like, when water freezes, right? Because 0 is freezing point, 100 is boiling point. That was purposefully set. So from Fahrenheit to Kelvin is Fahrenheit to Celsius and then to Kelvin. Exactly. Which is why Fahrenheit's retarded. Honestly. Like, so is the imperial system. Like, why is it that it's 12 inches to a foot and not just base 10? Isn't metric, like, way more efficient than imperial? Like, this is how retarded you guys are in the States, right? Or people in the States. I don't know where you're from, yeah. I'm guessing you're from the States. But I'm Canadian. So we use Celsius, and we use fucking, kilograms, and we use fucking... Yes, metric is generally more efficient calculation, science, engineering, and everyday math. That's one of the main reasons almost the entire world switched to it. Today's 10 number wasn't designed by scientists sitting down, exactly. But I must agree, for storytelling, inches and foot sounds better. See, what I like to do, Meow, is I like to take something like an everyday object and assert that that everyday object is the same on Earth as it is in the story, and then use that, like, some sort of equation with that measurement, like, for instance, like, the size of a Coke can, right? So it's like, this is like, 1 Coke can is 3 dye balls. And it's like, cheeseburger per bald eagle. Yes! Cheeseburger per bald eagle. Fuck yes, I love it. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I mean, you gotta live a little, right? You gotta have a little bit of a fun to it, right? Is this a separate one, or is this... Wait, did we read this one? And we're on to... this one? The empty chairs? I think we're on the empty chairs, right? Anything but metric. This one, yes. Yeah. Sin, a bit easy. But yeah, I was thinking just one more comment before we begin. I'm gonna take a toke. For like the origin of fashion, I want it to definitely be like, for like the goddess and Akasha, for being like where they are and like drawings and stuff like that, like natural murals, because basically the way that the city's created is, think of like taking all of the kind of colored rocks and gems that you could and like lining them up to make pictures on the ground. So the entire ground is just like murals, like the streets and roads and everything are just murals covered in like a thin layer of some sort of like glassy material, transparent material that's basically indestructible. And I want to have a scene of Dilip trying to be like, get at the jewels, and he's like trying to smash the fucking shit, and like everything he's doing, he just fucking can't get through it and shit. This fucking internet. Did you just crash? Did you just crash me out? So I just basically told my entire story to no one? Damn, man. Sucks to be me. I mean, it is what it is, right? 3, 2, 1, toke! So the way that Menos is set up, right? The idea of it is the lab of the goddess and Akasha. And, like, the goddess is very, like, astrology, like, goth, like, crystals and, like, energy, right? That's, like, her spirituality. And then, Akasha is, like, super scientific, like, you know, numbers and math, right? And basically, one of them ascends through, like, spirituality, which is the goddess, and then one of them ascends through science, which is Akasha. So Akasha basically Dr. Manhattan's himself, if you know from Watchmen, where it's like he's connected to the Akashic field of the data of the entire universe, so he's experienced every moment of everything that could ever happen ever, which means he basically, like, can't react to anything because it's already happened. So Akasha is getting, like, he's, like, basically a robot, and Goddess just wanted to spend an eternity with her lover. But now her lover's a robot, so she's fucking pissed. But the way that their lab was set up is she took all of the, like, gems and stuff like that and laid them across, like, a gravel road to make, like, murals across the entirety, as a god feels. Akasha doesn't. Goddess does. Goddess is basically an emotion, like, a brain spirit, right? Like, she's herself, but she doesn't have a corporeal being. That's why she turns into a complete and utter fucking hag bitch fuck who just demands worship so that at least someone thinks about her because she needs attention, and then uses Akasha to provide the miracles. But you don't know that. You think she's the one providing it, but she basically, like, is demanding Akasha manipulate reality at, like, a very high cost. Haven't figured out what that cost is, but that cost could be, like, the Q wars of just, like, supernovas exploding across the stars for no reason. In Star Trek. Like Star Trek Voyager, when Q go to war. And it's just, like, random supernovas all across the fucking quadrant. So this should not be happening. Shit like that. But you don't see it from any side except, like, near the end when Akasha, like, kind of tells you what's been going on after you remove the goddess and then have to fight her as Stoner Girl. But anyways, the entire idea is the entire city is made in a mural that is literally the depiction of the entire story. Because, like, half of it was done, like, through premonition by the goddess, and the other half was done scientifically through prophecy by Akasha. So if you actually had a bird's eye view of the entirety of the undestroyed Menos, it would have the pattern of a mural that played out the entire story from the beginning of time, like, from the beginning of them creating the machine, and, like, the civil war of Cronadia that destroyed the entire world. They basically nuked the entire fucking world. Why not create a species that already has the purpose of worshipping her instead of humans, which work always? Because the entire idea of the book is based around the idea that one human said, well, if we all don't worship the goddess, then we won't have miracles anymore. And then the other human said, well, why don't we just create our own technology and fuck the goddess and not have to rely on her miracles? And that's what the entire war of the book is. People believing that if not everyone worships the goddess, they're going to lose their miracles. And people that are like, fuck your miracles, we have fucking laser beam space cannons and fucking rocket ships. What do we need the fucking goddess's miracles for? Because the people that just want to rely, it's like a dichotomy of society of being like the people that want to rely on not having to do any work and just be supported by someone, and the people that are willing to put the work in themselves so they have their own freedom. Unless the goddess is a baddie, well, no shit, Sherlock. I'm gonna develop smartphones to goon every day. I mean, technically, Meow, the goddess is, because she's like this super hot goth, mommy dommy. Big tits, massive ass, you know. She's like 5'9". She's not like super tall, but like to like, you know, someone like me, she's tall, right? For us shorties, she's tall, and like, Akasha's like 5'6". 3, 2, 1, toke. It's funny because I haven't decided if, like, Stoner and Goddess are, like, inverse, that they're both basically the reincarnation of the same person in a different world. Except Stoner is, like, a kind of short, petite girl with a little bit of bigger boobs, because you need big tits. And a fine ass. But she's based on Donna from, that 70s show. But anyways, back to the mural. So basically, it's a bunch of gems and, like, you know, fucking stones and stuff of like fascinating colors laid across in a pattern on the ground, covered by a nigh indestructible like layer of like glass or like transparent material. And I want to have Delete because he's at the beginning, right? Like he's basically a African warlord, right? So he's like, oh shit, blood diamonds, and he's like trying his hardest to like break through this material so we can like get to these gems, right? Because that's just like to show like his personality, like at the beginning, right? Like he's just this fucking evil ass fucking kind of piece of shit warlord. But he is Delete, so he has kind of a reason because he's a Pakistani slave sold in childhood to make bricks by his parents who were indebted to an African warlord. And they like around for like 25 years until he was like 32, he just made bricks from clay. And then an uprising happened and he got part of the militia, and then he started figuring out if you become a bad person you can rule. And he was like, I'm tired of being a little bitch, so he basically killed a bunch of people, made his ruler, and became like the ruler of like some sort of random country in Africa as a warlord. Drug warlord. And then he got isekai'd. Unfortunately. That's just how it goes, right? Anyways, let's get into the story. Enough ranting about my story, time to get into your story. Alright. The empty chairs. By the time the second wave of alerts reached every outpost and border station the order still held, the details barely mattered anymore. The word alone was already doing the work. Warden Ryuji has fallen. Everyone who could still stand and carry a weapon was being called home. Across a dozen scattered corners of the world, we started moving before they'd finished reading the message twice. Because, like, everyone knew that, like, there was, like, on the verge, right? Where they're like, is this gonna, like, they're sending these kinds of people out. Like, we're a little bit short-handed. Is there gonna be, like, a point where this is, like, bad? And now they're like, yes, this is now bad. And most of it's, like, you know, because Ryuji was, like, a good guy, right? Like everyone, like, looked up to him and, like, liked him. Whereas, like, there's some wardens that were, like, kind of dicks, right? It's like assembling the Avengers. Yeah. Far to the west, where the orders reached, thinned into a scattering of relay stations and lonely border posts. Kemi was dressed before the second alert finished chiming through recorders. Alright, let's get the fucking boys together and let's avenge our master. Because if someone could kill him, they can't kill all of us, right? She shrugged her Hiyori over her shoulders, letting dark fabrics settle to hide the reinforced weave of her combat uniform beneath, and reached for the katana that had been leaning against her cot since the first message came through. An hour before dawn, went home at her hip, with the ease of 10,000 identical mornings. Ryuji was top 6 among the wardens. Yeah, but he was also, like, super liked, wasn't he? Whereas there's, like, some wardens that are, like, assholes, that people are like, you know, it is what it is. But he was, like, beloved by people, right? Like, he made, like, a big impact in, like, society and stuff. Yeah, he was super friendly. Yeah. So everyone's like, this is like a personal thing now, right? Where they're like, this is revenge. This isn't a war. This is fucking revenge. This is personal. Makes it all the fucking better. She pressed thumb to forefinger in a sign that had taken the better part of a year to learn cleanly. And the air folded in on itself in front of her. Even one of them had a crush on him. Well, it's funny about this kind of, like, dichotomy, because, like, I was watching, like, random movies, and I was watching the China show, and I was like, you know what movie I haven't watched in a while? Because they were talking about really shitty Chinese movies, and I was like, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Fuck, man, such a good fucking movie. Oh, amazing Chinese cinema back in the day. She pressed thumb to forefinger in a sign that had taken the better part of a year to learn cleanly. The air folded in on itself in front of her. And it's like the scene of the idea of Shen Liao looking at Jen when she's doing calligraphy, and she's like, you're way too perfect at this. It's like sussing her out.
It's like, so did you know that like calligraphy and fencing are quite similar? Oh, I wouldn't know. I'm just the daughter of a nobleman. Yeah, sure. Then she pressed thumb to forefinger in a sign that had taken the better part of a year to learn cleanly. And the air folded in on itself in front of her. And I also like just like the dichotomy of the idea of that like Jen never like she like never really gets her redemption. And it's like her wish of like basically non-existence, right? She basically finishes the wish and suicides herself. It doesn't really, it's like a spiritual thing. She flies off into the distance, right? It's like forever becoming a spirit to protect the world kind of idea. Even though she is literally a fucking selfish piece of shit bitch that just fucked everyone over because she was just an angry, spoiled little child. But it's such a good fucking character. And that's what I hate about a lot of, like, people don't put enough depth into making a character like that nowadays. They just make, like, a spoiled brat character, but they don't, like, give the emotional weight behind the reason, like, why they're rebelling or how they have to rebel based on the culture and, like, traditions and, like, their position in society. It's usually just, no, they're just, like, an angry cunt. It's like, it's not actually how it is, right? It's a resentment of the world more than anything. And it's like, that's what you're rebelling against. Dysfunctional family could work. Well, yeah, but it's the problem that it's always one-dimensional, right? It's never like 5 or 6 different things that form the character. It's like, oh, I have daddy issues, so I'm a slut. Oh, my parents separated, and my parents always fought, so I have a really shitty boyfriend who beats me up because that's what my dad did to my mom. It's like, that's it? That's the personality and that's the depth of the character? It's like, oh yeah, no, this just happened like 4 times. But it's like, that was the only thing that happened? Like, what? I don't know. I love the idea of dysfunctional families, especially in areas where it's like, for instance, if you're a noble or royalty in like a historical, like theocracy, right? Like the way that like Rival was pushed or Cook was pushed, or even Botanist was pushed out of religion. I was born in Peru. That's why I wiped half the population. I mean, I honestly don't know the state of Peru, so I couldn't say anything, right? That's like, I mean, like, I don't want to make the joke, but it's like, as far as I know, Hungary is like Austria is like a very on the verge second, third world country. It's like, right? It's like growing up there, making a painter, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I could see it. Put your best thumb to forefinger in a sign that had taken the better part of a year to learn cleanly. The air folded in on itself in front of her. A shimmering dark blue orb bloomed at eye level, no larger than a fist, and through it she could see the racks and shelves of the pocket dimension she'd spent a decade filling. An arsenal built one manifest. And this, I think I'm just reading this wrong. An arsenal built one manifested piece at a time, tucked away somewhere ordinary technique couldn't reach. I feel like there's like because it's like it feels very purposeful in the lack of additional like articles, as in an, a, the, right? Like an arsenal that was built, right? One, and then like comma, one manifested piece at a time, as it was tucked away somewhere. ordinary techniques couldn't reach, right? There's like just to me, like, trying to read it out loud, it feels a little bit clunky. It's like I see exactly what you're trying to do, it just feels a little bit clunky. No larger than a fist, and through it, she could see the racks and shelves of the pocket dimension she'd spent a decade filling. An arsenal built one manifested piece at a time, tucked away somewhere ordinary technique couldn't reach. It's like an ad mystery, because it hasn't been revealed yet what it is. I know, I'm just talking about, like, the grammar of the structure of the sentence, and, like, it just sounds awkward to say out loud. But it's like, there is the point of, like, personality, if that's how this character talks, because this is through the character's, thing. Because it would, like, I would say, an arsenal that was, comma, built one manifested piece at a time, tucked away somewhere ordinary techniques couldn't reach. It's like a grammatical thing, but I don't know. It could be the way that the character talks and the use of personality of, like, they're the narrator, and so that's their speech patterns. I just want to make sure that that's, like, the reason for it, because I feel like there needs to be a purposeful reason for why it's clunky, and then that needs to be, like, emphasized through the character and maintained. Okay, because, yeah, just saying it out loud, it feels a little bit clunky. So it feels like this is something so, like, the narration should reflect the character's speech patterns. And this seems like this is a very specific type of speech pattern. And it's just because it feels awkward to say out loud with my speech pattern. So that's why I was like, is this equivalent to your speech pattern? Right? Because I would definitely say I have a higher level, more sophisticated, like, style of use of language. Right? Where it's like that's why I'm so word salad, because, like, I try to add the context into how I'm saying what I'm saying, and this feels 100% like a stylistic choice. So it's like is this on purpose? Is it an accident? Is this something you want to capitalize on? Or is this just a oddity? And I feel like if it's an oddity, then, like, it should be fixed, right? Because that feels like that's a mistake. 3, 2, 1, talk! I may be using the wrong vocabulary here, but as far as I know, articles are a and the, like, tenses for things, so, like, was, is, and then singular versus plural for, like, ordinary techniques. Or it would be so, like, an ordinary technique, right? And that's how you would, like, use the article to change the, like, pattern of singular or plural. Because just somewhere ordinary techniques. Because you wouldn't say somewhere ordinary technique. That's like a mispluralization, right? But you could add and then ordinary technique becomes its own separate clause, i.e. pertaining that emphasizing the word ordinary. Because it emphasizes that higher level techniques can get there. So it's like just an ordinary technique can't, which would be
an ordinary technique, or it would just be like ordinary techniques as a overall. So like to me it's stronger to say an ordinary technique to emphasize the difference in like higher level techniques. But that's just me. Because an at that point like cancels out like somewhere is like I don't exactly know, but it feels like it counts as a plural because it's like it's multiple. Higher level techniques would be able to access it. Yeah. So then it becomes a stylistic thing. But it's emphasis. If you just say ordinary techniques couldn't reach, it doesn't have emphasis on the word ordinary. But if you say somewhere an ordinary technique couldn't reach, to me that adds emphasis on the word ordinary, because you're adding an extra article in order to preface it, right? So then it's like, so this isn't just an ordinary technique. Da da da. Right? But I mean, it depends on how you want to do it. Do you want to emphasize it or do you not? Right? And that's the reason why you would change it. If you want to emphasize ordinary, put the an. If you don't, put techniques. Like, there should always be, like, in my opinion, a reason why you're doing something. At least, like, an idea in your head of the reason why. Because English does have rules for a reason because of how complicated it is. And, like, how subconscious we, like, there's like, more than half of English is subconscious, in my opinion. I don't know if that's statistically provable, but it's, like, subconscious. You don't realize why you look at one sentence one way and you look at basically the same sentence another way, and it's because you understand the nuance of how certain ways are presented with language. Even if you don't understand those laws, like, consciously, you do subconsciously. Because that's, like, to me, that's, like, the addition of body language and tone inside of a written format. So you have to be able to take the body language, the tone, and attitude, and atmosphere of, like, the character, and embody that into the writing to give the idea of what that character is. Which is why sometimes you can hear a line that says, oh my god, this character is fucking pissed. Or you're like, oh my god, this character is so excited. And it could literally be the same line, right? It's just the way that it's presented in context with the language allows you to express the same thing in a different way using the personality of the character that's expressing it, right? Like, for instance, when I say, fuck you, 90% of the time it's like a positive influence, right? But 99% of the time when people say fuck you, it's like a derogatory pejorative, right? But I use it as like a title, like an honorific, right? Or a, something like that. I don't think I'm prepared yet to change writing styles mid-writing. Oh, then that's why Meow, it's just like, I'm just ranting again. My advice is like, not for everyone, right? So don't ever feel that it's like, oh, you know, I have to do this. It's just, I'm just saying this. And then it's like, because I think about it like, even if you don't, let's say, apply this to this writing, right? The idea will get stuck in your head, and it's like maybe something you didn't think about before. So technically, even if you don't change the story, just having that idea in your head has made you, in my opinion, a better writer. Because you're thinking about it now, right? And you're like, contemplating in your head, what are the, like, downsides and upsides of that change? And you're like, I'm so far in, something like that I think would ruin the rhythm of the entire, what I've built, right? It's like you built a wooden house, and it's like, well, why don't you make it out of metal? And you're like, well, I mean, a wooden house is fine, and I'm already halfway done. But if I get the materials next time and I have it, sure, I'll build a metal house. That's like the analogy I think of, right? Because there's nothing wrong with it. 99.9% of houses are fucking made of wood and shit, right? So it's like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's a different strength to it, right? and it's like a different level. Because again, we're all just, as far as I'm concerned, right, we're all just amateur writers that are just trying to become better. But those greatest writers of all time, published writers and shit like that, right? Like, they're the ones building bunkers underground with, like, fucking, you know, like, post-apocalyptic stuff. Like, as an analogy of, like, the skill that they have in the craft of what they do, and the materials that they are available to them to be able to build something like that, right? Just using a, like, visualization of the finished product being a house, right? You could have a little shack, right? You know, a one-man shack. So I'd be happy living in a fucking trailer, right? I don't need a lot of space. Too much space actually is like, I can't handle too much space, right? Like, that's why I like just being in my room. Because it's like, okay, you know, this is the range that I have. I'm good here. Because I get overwhelmed way too easily for, like, physical things. Because I'm so heavily, like, in my mind about stuff. I'm just like, I can't keep track. And as soon as I lose what's in my mind, I'm like, fuck. Because I think that's more important than what's going on in the physical reality. Which is probably a problem, but that's why I'm a writer, right? Yeah, I always like to say that, like, don't ever feel like you're like, man, I did it wrong. It's like, no, you did it the way you needed to do it for the story, but it's just an idea of something that you could work on, right? Because I think one of my strengths is my ability to put myself in other people's heads and, like, change my actions based upon people's, like, how I would insinuate people's, like, situation. I think that's just something I'm good at because, like, I love studying people, and, like, I've had to, like, change my reaction towards things because, like, I'm an extremely volatile, spiteful, emotional person that would never be able to live in society if I was just, quote-unquote, left to my own devices, right? I need society to hold me accountable so I don't do those fucked up things, right? Like, be a little crybaby bitch at 35 years old and try to, like, stand in front of the front door to not let my parents go golfing or some shit like that because, like, they didn't make me a sandwich in the morning. Like, literally the most petty, retarded fucking bullshit where it's like, just fucking punch me in the face. Right? And it's like, dealing with that and trying to be a fucking normal person, I think has, like, expanded my ability to, like, interpret people's, like, motives, personality, and, like, certain things like that. Because I know I'm hiding a bunch of shit. So I know you are too, right? And it's only so I could just live in society. Which is why it makes me hate people that, like... I was talking about this the other day, and I know this is a big tangent, yeah, but I think this is kind of important. So, think about... These are the type of personality types that I, like, basically think about. So you have a person that if they think that they can beat up this person that they're interacting with, they will have no problem doing, like, absolutely anything because they like know that they can get away with it because they could basically kill the person if they wanted to and there's no consequences. And we're talking in a world of no consequences, right? That's a personality type. And then there's the, you get someone that you know that would kill you, so you act proper because you know if you didn't, that person would take you out, just like you would take out someone who you thought you could, but you do it just because, not because they were acting proper, right? So this shows that person has the ability to control themselves when there are consequences. Whereas there is someone who they'll, you know, do the same thing to someone who they think they can beat up and someone they think or know they can't. Because, like, they just can't control themselves. So, like, you put, like, me having that personality instead of in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm just trying to, like, hit him until he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? And just punches me in the face and kills me. Right? Because it's like, I don't know how to control myself. I'm just a crazy person. Right? And then there's the people that will just be kind to everyone. Right? So it's like, knowing, like, how someone treats someone who's stronger and weaker than them tells everything to me about their personality. And, like, again, not having any consequences. Because it's like, what would you do if you knew you could get away with it? That reminds me of Jonathan Joestar. There are those types, right? And then there's even the types that are like,
Like they will be nice to people that they know they can beat up because they know they can beat them up, so they're not a threat. But someone that's stronger than them, they'll challenge them at every point in time because they think of them as a threat. So there are variations as well of nuances inside of that, but then there's people that are just like like Goku, for instance. He's the nicest guy ever, but he wants to beat people up because he wants to get stronger. If he sees someone stronger than him, he just has to fight them. At least if they're willing to fight, right? So I definitely feel that. Fucking Johto. Yup. Max risk designation. Heard your cancer is strong. It's like that one hits me harder because like I am a Cancer. You know, astrology wise, I'm a Cancer. So I've always said it's fucking hilarious because I'm literally like a fucking parasite. I'm absolutely Cancer. So like that has like an entirely new meaning for like its own purpose, right? On top of it, max risk designation sent to every top tier combatant the order still had standing. She'd seen that classification exactly twice before in 6 years of service. Both times wardens hadn't come home in the numbers they left in. So like the enemy has been growing stronger, but they've been slowly growing weaker, and it's like this. Now we're at a point of the tipping where everyone thought we could win, but now we can. That's the last of the West Rack, ma'am. Oh, where? Max risk designation. Supposed to go for Gensho, not Akemi. Oh, 6 years of service? Akemi has only been in the warden rank for like a few years. Oh, but Gensho has been in it for 6+. So this is like a you know, mischaracterization. See, this is why we do this. Even like, because I never would have known that because I don't know like the depth of the character, right? For 40 years. Yeah. Because that's something I was just like, wait, what? Because it's just something I gloss over because I wouldn't think anything about it, right? It's last of the West Rack, ma'am, said one of the outpost's junior staff. Joe barely into his second year, hovering by the door like he couldn't decide whether to help or get out of the way. Box up whatever's left. Akemi didn't look up. Her voice bright and easy in a way that cost her something to keep producing. Done with the inventory. Whatever I'm not carrying, I won't be needing. Oh, man, that fucking hurt my head. Oh, man. Sneezing? Ah, that shit is brutal. I need a fucking drink. I'll be right back. Keep hydrated. Get rid of the headache.
to smash my knee, step on a fucking my Walmart clip thing, and then I fucking roll the fucking chair over my toe. God damn. That was a chain of fucking events. You know what they say, like, right? If your head hurts, just stab yourself, because then your head won't hurt anymore, because wherever you stabbed yourself will. I mean, what? Yeah, your finger's broken, just break your toe, and then you won't feel your finger anymore. 3, 2, 1, toe. Okay. She meant it as a joke. Didn't land as one. She let it go anyway. Was that like a joke of like I'm not coming back? Like, that's what I got from that. It's like I won't be needing it because I'm not going to be coming back. Right? Is it like she's going out to die? But it came off a little bit too serious. Or absorb the slim. This would be a great moment for the shock Scotty redeem. My head would explode. My fucking head would explode. I mean, it would be really funny, but like, I'm not buying myself a shock collar. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, well, I wonder how much they are. Prohl donated fucking, like, $55 the other day. So, like, maybe it depends on how much they are? Right? Because you need one that has, like, levels on it. Like, I need, like, a purposeful, like, not a dog shock collar, like, a purposeful, like, BDSM, like, actual real shock collar with, like, different levels and stuff like that. But those things are usually, like, 400 or 500 bucks. 100k points for max level. Dog collars are fucking dangerous for people. Right? But, like, there's, like, very specifically made, like, kink ones for, like, shocking. You get, like, wrist collars, neck collars, ankle collars. But they're usually fucking expensive. And you don't want to trust that shit for a fucking piece of shit quality one. Because that's, like... You don't fuck around with that shit. Right? It's like, you don't buy it from Timo, you're gonna... You buy a neck shock collar from Timo, you're gonna fucking kill yourself. The orb absorbed a slim, wicked-edged copy of Zagamaro's chained dagger, coiled neatly beside its length of dark light links. The rapier, narrow as a needle, cast in the same quiet elegance Yukihime had gifted her. It either doesn't work, or it works too well. But it'd be like, I imagine it's like you use it the first time and the whole thing just blows up. And I'm just imagining, like, from, Kingsman. Like, when all the heads blow up. And it's just like this, like, cloud of, like, fucking rainbow-colored fucking, discharge, I guess you'd say? Smoke? Rattle almost absurd looking beside the rest of the blades. That turned into something considerably less absurd once it was in Lopunny's hands. Dozen smaller pieces besides, each one an echo of a warden who taught her, sparred with her, or pulled her out of trouble at some point over the years. She could copy the shape of what her friends carried into battle easy enough. She'd
never once been able to copy the years of practice that made those shapes deadly. That part she'd had to build herself, weapon by weapon, over more long nights than she cared to count. She wrapped the last piece and let the orb fold quietly shut around the rest of the arsenal. Alright, packed up and ready to go. I love the fucking, like, arrangement of weapons. And it's like, the, like, slight, like, backstory of, like, each weapon. Of, like, yeah, giving you just a tidbit of information to know that it's, like, special in its own way. And it's like, who has, like, 4 or 5 different, like, special weapons like this? Well, someone who's pretty good at fucking, like, the mastery of weapons, right? Then, just for a moment, her hands went still over the cot. Ryuji. She liked him. Always another mission, always another briefing, always some reason it could wait. Wardens tend to gift thingies to other wardens. I could definitely see it, right? I mean, I'd want to do that too, right? I'm like, so guys, check this out. It's a great sword. Like, I don't use great swords. You want it? Because, like, damn, this seems fucking impressive. But, you know, it's RNG, right? I wanted the dual blades, but I got the great sword. So you want it? Always another mission. Always another briefing. Always some reason it could wait. Be kind to her back when she first transferred in. Green and overeager. Trying hard. Far too hard. He never once made her feel it. And we're around the same age. Good man, wrapped around a sword, somehow gentler than his own reputation. By every account, she'd already read a dozen times. Read it a dozen times? Already read a dozen times? Since first report came through? Or... yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's an it for a point of subject. Like, what is this like referring to, right? Because it's emphasizing she's read it like over and over and over again, right? So it's like read it a dozen times, not read a dozen, like, different reports. So this implies a rereading of a report. Which she'd already read a dozen times, so it would need it. Like, she'd already read it a dozen times since the first report came through. Like, read A, you read A, and then whatever it is. Read a report. So yeah, she read it a dozen times. Not read a dozen times. It's awkward, right? He stood over 4 terrified kids tonight and refused with everything he had left to let the day take a fifth. Sins, Ryuda, Kane, Maya. He bought them. He'd bought them the room to run, with Lopunny holding the line at his side. He'd bought them the room to run. Like, I'm like assuming this is like a way of saying like he was their teacher and he like, you know, like, it's a very interesting way of saying it. I just want to make sure that it's like that's what you're trying to say. And it's not like the room is like a physical place. Like the room to run as in like expanded their horizons. But it's like the room isn't a physical place that he physically blocked. It's a good sentence. Like, I like it. I just want to make sure that like it is the interpretation I'm going with, right? Which is he's protecting them
and giving them more horizons. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. With Lopunny, because that's immediately what I assumed, right? It can't be physical, right? But you gotta make sure with Lopunny, which is why I really like that wording. Lopunny holding the lion at his side, and he hadn't stopped fighting even after the fight had clearly, unforgivably, already been decided. She straightened the Haori's collar, checked the katana's draw once more out of habit rather than need, let the cheers settle back over her face like a mask sliding into place, bright, easy, convincing to anyone who didn't know exactly where to look for the rage baked just beneath it, patient and entirely unwilling to be talked down. Ads. Let me know if you get ads. His death is not going to be for nothing. She'd see to that herself if it came to it. I love the determination. Somehow I'm not getting the ads. Fuck yeah, fuck Twitch. Fuck the ads. Not far from where it had happened, Lopunny sat wrapped in a blanket that did nothing at all for the cold that had actually settled into her and to let herself shake. At the end of the month, I'm gonna get like 50 ads in a row. Shit. She had fought Dialga. Nothing in her arsenal was built for trading blows with something that could unmake the shape of a battlefield with a thought. What she'd done for the better part of 20 unbelievable minutes, pulled the door shut. Her technique wound tight around the seams of Dialga's power, squeezing, denying it the one thing it needed to end the fight in an instant, buying Ryuji the only thing she'd had left to give him, time enough to use his own. This is where I'm slightly confused. Was this a previous fight between Dialga and Ryuji? That Ryuji survived and she's like thinking back on what had happened? And or like was she trying and like Ryuji's fighting Dialga right now and now he's dead because she couldn't. Ryuji and Lopunny were together when Dialga struck. And because like I don't know what fight is going on right now that killed Ryuji. Was the one who fought while Lopunny held her technique back, preventing time stops. And that's the fight that's going on now that Ryuji just died in. Or was this like a fight that was previous? Died and Psycho 2 arrived just in time to save the rest. And Dialga fled. But we don't know that yet. At least from like this perspective. Right? We don't know what happened or anything. We only know, or is that like simply because of where I started in the story, but like that's already like a part of another thing? So like as far as I know, I as the reader don't, from just these two chapters, right? I don't know what's going on that killed Ryuji. Okay. Cause I'm like in the middle, right? Pressed the heel of her hand against her eyes. Tears came anyway. Same as they had every few minutes since it happened. She kept seeing it, its blade and Dialga's head leaving her shoulders. Once and then impossibly a second time, because the first hadn't held. Okay. Something about that creature simply refused to stay dead the way anything else would have. She didn't have words for what she'd watched. Wasn't healing. Healing didn't happen in one flat instant, with no wound closing, no blood receding, nothing at all except a thing that had just been killed, apparently choosing, quite simply, not to have been. Here. Sins held out a bottle of water, his hand not quite steady around it. He was pale in a way she'd never once seen him before. Easy confidence. He usually wore nowhere in evidence. He'd watched a warden die tonight. One of the strongest fighters the Order had.
Someone he'd been lucky enough to call a teacher. He had clearly cracked something open in him that had never been touched before. So that's the first time he's seen someone, like, of importance die, or is that the first time he's ever seen anyone die? Right? He just went from 0 to 1,000 and seeing, like, the most important. I think this is the only direct mention of sins in the whole document. She took the bottle and drank in a single unbroken swallow, because her throat was raw and because it gave her hand something to do besides shake. It's the second someone important dies. It was her fault. She could dress that up however she wanted afterward, in reports and reviews and whatever careful language the Order eventually decided to wrap around it. But underneath all of it, all of that, it was simple. Excuse me. Oh, man. Oh. She'd held that line for 20 minutes against a pressure that would have broken most wardens in 5. Somewhere around minute 19, exhaustion simply taken her under for half a second, and she'd chosen an involuntary dark of a body, forcing itself to rest, whether or not it had been given permission. That was all Dialga needed. The instant her hold broke, instead of easing the pressure she'd spent 20 minutes building, came apart all at once. Dialga tore 2 full seconds of stop time out of the wreckage of it. 2 seconds that were an eternity to something that lived outside time to begin with. Long enough to cross the distance between them. You know what this reminds me of? You've watched Overlord, and Ain's fight against Gazid? Fuck, I can't remember his name. It's not Gazel. Is it Gazid? Gazo? Gazon? Fuck, man. Gazel? Gazel? And he does the time stop and just insta one-tap deaths him. Just to show how much... Gazif! It's Gazif! Gazif. Because he wanted to show everyone how powerful Ainz actually is. And how fucked they actually are. I can't fucking wait for the new season of Overlord. I fucking love Overlord. I might just rewatch it too, because it's been so long. And it's so good. Long enough to put itself straight through Ryuji's chest, one side to the other, before she'd even finished blinking. He hadn't gone down. That was the part she kept circling back to. The part that made the guilt so much worse instead of better. He'd taken a wound, should have ended him on the spot, and he'd kept his feet. Kept his sword up, kept fighting with a hole clean through him because he decided, somewhere below the level of conscious thought, Dialga did not get to touch anyone else while he could stand between them. He held that line until Psycho Tsukami finally reached them. Yeah, but Ryuji didn't die in that instant. He managed to hold his own against Dialga with a hole in his chest for a few more minutes. But because he suffered the wound, which he shouldn't have suffered the wound of if she had just held her own and been better. And the fact that it was only like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I'd assume, that he stood his ground until Tsukami showed up. And then he just eventually just fucking died. But if he hadn't taken that wound because of her, in case Lopunny didn't fall asleep, he would have survived. Yeah. So she thinks it's her fault, even though it's like, still lose, but he wouldn't have died. Yeah. And, but it's like, yeah, and it's like, that moment of being like 10 seconds too late, right? And it's like, I love that, because it's like the same thing inside of like, Zaid's death in the Final Fantasy book, right? Like, Kusai falls to his knees after seeing the blood trail and like imagining what Zaid went through, because he basically couldn't die, so it's like, this massive blood trail of them basically like skinning him basically alive, tearing him apart, flesh and shit everywhere. And he just sits there for like 40 seconds. And then he just starts running, right? And then when he, because it's like, this goes on for like 600, 700 feet. Maybe even more. It might even be floors. I don't know. But eventually, and the thing is, because like, basically Zayd is crucified to the doors, holding his own head. Because they cut his head off, right? And it takes about an hour after your head gets cut off for you to, like, actually die inside of the tree. And Husai sees Zayd's eyes look directly at him. And then he puts Zayd's head back on, and nothing happens because he's dead. So if Husai had just kept his wits and just kept running and not fallen to his knees, Zayd would have lived. But it was that moment of, he had been hearing that Zayd was dead the entire trip back, and he just didn't believe it, and seeing the blood and everything made him believe it, and that made him falter. And because of that falter, Zayd actually died. Which causes him to go into like a 3-chapter spiral of trying, because he knows that Zayd has some sort of information that's super important, but Zayd's the only one who knows how to read like the graph system that Zayd made for like this like scientific thing of like putting everything together. Husai's trying to like reconstruct it and stuff, right? To try and find out, basically, because Zayd knew who the Warriors of Light are. But you never find out, because Zayd can't tell you. And then it weighs heavily on Husai, because he's the reason that, like, they don't have a winning side now, and, like, they're basically losing the battle. Fucking epic as fuck moment. It's the most pivotal fucking moment, probably in the entire series. And she hadn't been able to stop it. Even Tsukami, who Lopani had genuinely believed could stop anything, watched Dialga slip away the same way it had slipped away from its own death minutes earlier, gone before the dust even settled, leaving nothing behind but 4 traumatized kids, 1 Cinderace, whose hands would stop shaking in a warden's body on the ground that had 20 minutes before been perfectly ordinary grass. Some distance from the yard where the news had first landed, Kensho walked the gravel path toward headquarters with his hands folded before him, and his lips moving around words meant for no one currently living. He wasn't a man who prayed often. There were nights that called for it regardless of how out of place, out of practice he'd become. I mean, when all hope is gone, everyone turns back to their fallen faith, right? That's like a human psychology. It's like, for me, it's more of a, product of quantum mechanics and manifestation through observation of consciousness, which is just my fancy way of saying, God help me, right? It's basically the same thing, right? Was like the image of the new generation of wardens. And now that he's gone, it's like there's like a split, right? Because it's gonna cause a, there's gonna be the people that are like now afraid to like, they're gonna be like, well, I'm just a small fry dude. How am I gonna be able to do anything when Ryuji couldn't? Fuck that. I'm out, bitch. I'm defecting. I wonder if that'll happen to anyone. And it's like the other side just gains the smaller recruits that can be like in the vanguard, right? And they have to like fight against their friends. Because they're like, you guys just, we're not gonna, it's like they want to destroy the world. You're not gonna win either fucking way. You're gonna die either fucking way. You might as well fight it. Nah, I'd rather sit back and relax until I'm dead. Sorry. Behind him, a loose cluster of Jokyu fruits kept pace. 4 of them, still damp from an evening drill he'd cut short without much explanation. They were young enough. The silence made them nervous, trading glances at his back, waiting for him to say something that would make the abrupt end of their training make sense. I need a toke. Oh, this is really good though, Meow. Like the expression of the characters and stuff, and how you've woven in like the mystery of the death and like the assumption of the character, like knowing the battle's going on. So it's like from this perspective, like if you never, I don't know if you actually see Ryuji die before this, but I hope that you don't. And then it just goes to Lucario, and then it changes everything. And it's like that's the perspective shift, where the last thing you saw was like him fighting Dialga, and then it's like it just shifts over, and then you get all of this information from the other side. So it's like you know that he's dead, and you're like, wait, what? We just saw him fighting. How did that happen? Right? And it builds up the
the hype and the, like, mystery and the questions for the reader, right? And it's, like, thrown together in this super emotional fucking, oh my god, you know, moment. And it's, like, also mentioning of, like, a changing of the status quo because of, like, how people perceive Ryuji and what his death, like, the impact his death has on everyone. Fortunately, he needs to give Ryota a very important speech. So his death needs to be mentioned. So I just thought of something, Meow. What is the moral, I'd say equity of using someone's death, right, as a emphasis or motivation for someone versus a, like, lesson or like state of the world of being like, you can think that you're as strong as you want to believe, but you go out there and you're gonna fucking die. Just like Ryuji. Not saying Ryuji just went out there and died, but even he could die. Imagine the fuck you're gonna do, you little bitch. Start fucking training. 3, 2, 1, toke. I had to stop packing such fat balls. Holy fuck. They were young enough. The silence made them nervous, trading glances at his back, waiting for him to say something that would make the abrupt end of their training make sense. He stopped, where the path forked, one branch toward the dormitories and the other toward the looming white shape of headquarters. Turned to face them. That's enough for tonight, he said. Go back to your rooms. One of the braver, simply younger than the rest, asked why. Psycho Daigami was called an assembly. Left it there. Because the full truth underneath that sentence was something for Jokyu's. Wasn't something for Jokyu's needed care. Wasn't something... Again, this is like awkward sentencing. 4 Jokyu's needed carried into their sleep tonight. It just feels like, I understand, but it feels awkward to say out loud. Sentence wasn't something 4 Jokyu's needed carried into their sleep tonight. Because it's like, yeah, because you could say, like, for instance, something the 4 Jokyu's needed to carry. But it's like, I just word salad, right? So something 4 Jokyu's needed to carry into their sleep tonight. Because, like, needed, carried. It's like, I'm a big proponent, Meow, of, like, shift of language. So it's like, again, if it's the stylistic choice of a personality of an,
vocabulary and talking style of a character, right? It's super powerful. Because it's like, I understand what you're saying, and if it's like for instance, the way you use an accent, somebody who's, let's say, talking in a foreign language, like not their first language, so like they don't understand those key differences, right? And those are just kind of like the idea of like tiny things you can add to the character to add personality to their speech patterns, right? Is be like, oh, well, this character is actually from here, so like this is actually a second language for them, so like they don't truly understand how to use like articles properly, so their sentences are a little bit weird for like their narration and their dialogue. But it's like that is a chosen stylistic choice that represents the character itself, right? Not because somebody goes, that's just bad grammar. And I think that's again why I hate the idea of like sticking to like proper grammar and like what English is. It's like, no, you do what you need to do to tell the story no matter what, right? So if you want to make those weird sentences, as long as the understanding of what you're trying to say is coming across, which it is, and that just makes the writing unique, right? And especially if it's emphasized this is the personality of the narrator or pure dialogue, then it's like, damn, that character has, you know, something real to them, right? They're not just a normal, like, for instance, I'll give you an example, right? Like, what I like to use for differentiated characters is literally different accents, right? So I wish I could do different accents. The only one that I can do it is the brown. But you look at the brown and you go to the way that you say things, and you go like, oh, what word you use when you say okay, right? And then there are like other things you go in when you don't say okay, because it is like an amma, but okay is what we say when we go on what we do. So we don't have to worry about putting it in the place where it go, we just do what we say. And you know what I want. Oh my god, I was so thirsty, down an entire bottle of water. Still gamer, that's like kind of how I am. Like, when did I refill this? Like, usually this takes me like an hour to go through. Like, I'm fucking chugging this shit because, like, I have fucking massive headache. How's it going, School Gamer? What are you up to? What do you got? What are you at? How's your day going today? Warden Ryuji is dead. That was the message that had reached him not 20 minutes earlier. Spare and spar and clinical. I like the lava lamp in back. I need one. Yeah, man. I wish it was, like, bigger and brighter, because, like, I wish it kind of illuminated the books, because, like, all the books behind me. So, like, I kind of want to get, like, another lamp that, like, points at the books so you can see the books. But I don't have, like, anything like that. I have a lamp back there that I tried to do it with, but it's just, like, a table stand lamp, so it's not like one of those, like, you know, the Pixar lamp where it's like it's directable. It's just a simple nightstand lamp with a shade on it, so it's like I can't direct the light to point at the books. I need like a spotlight to point at the books. But yeah, you know, it's always giving people other things to look at, you know, like something to draw the attention of your eye, which is like why I have the background of like a video game, right? So it's like, you don't have to necessarily, you have something that your eye can be attracted to, right? It's just a psychological thing, right? It's like why people put like Subway Surfer in the background of like audio videos, right? Or shorts and stuff like that. Or they swap like the screen back and forth or up and down just to like keep your attention, right? Psychological bullshit in order to keep people's attention. But hey, that's the age we live in, right? I'm not malicious in it, I'm practical in it, right? Because I'm like, it's nothing that's like, like a promotion, right? It's not like you're using the, because like the worst that you can do is when you need something, put a Subway Surfers video instead. No, meow, because like, in my opinion, Subway Surfer is just like brain rot. I don't want brain rot to be associated in any way, shape, or form with my channel. Does that make sense? So that's why it's like, usually like ARPGs
StarCraft, Diablo, or like some sort of like Souls-like game, right? Where it's like things are moving around, but it's like, you know, it's not prominent. I think that's the word. It's not prominent, it's not in your face, it's just there. So that, like, because I don't like the idea of covering the screen up with the camera, because then you can't see, like, the full screen, right? It covers stuff, and it's annoying. So that's why I made the screen the size it is, and I was like, well, let's just put other things in the background to make it not just a black background or anything, right? And then I'm like, because originally we had it as the space thing, and then we had it as bits for pictures. We still have, like, the hot, sexy bitches for, like, makeup and wear women streams, and then we have, like, Artosis or Asmon in the background, right? It's an ever-evolving thing, right? And then, like I said, I want to get the spotlight, so you point people's books, have, like, different rotations of different people's books and stuff like that. You know, do promotional stuff like that. Because that's the kind of stuff I'd want to do. I don't want to do some fucking sponsor bullshit. I want to do like, hey guys, buy Relic's book. It's really, really good. It's crime, thriller, supernatural, government conspiracy. Lawrence Grimes series. Well, like with Shadow, right? Like, buy the, what was it? I forgot what it's called. Echoes of the Sacred Territory. It's like Sacred Territory, but what was it? Echo? I couldn't remember what the first word was. Anyways, I'm ranting. Let's go. That was the message that reached him not 20 minutes earlier. Spare and clinical. Poor young soul. Gone. So much left still in him. The world would never get the chance to see now. It's just like big titty girls. See, this is fucking brain rot. It's fucking brain rot. It's just like, it's just meant to do ridiculous things that keep your attention. It's such a psychological, purposeful, like formulaic build that it's like, listen to the music. Yeah, no. Not happening. You lost me. Poor young soul, gone, so much left still in him. The world would never get the chance to see now. It literally kills brain cells. At least mine. It fucking kills brain cells, bro. Might as well just be like fucking just shooting yourself in the head. Lobotomize yourself. Kinsho hoped that Arceus would take proper care of whatever was left of him. Wasn't the first message like this year. Wouldn't, he suspected grimly, be the last. Since Yukihime, since his wife had been taken from him in almost exactly this fashion. Spare words on a screen carrying news far too large for the format delivering it. The whole shape of the world felt different beneath his feet. Heavier. Moving faster than he liked. Faster than he seemed able to slow down, no matter how much of his considerable strength he threw against it. Sometimes there are times when you just have to let go and go with the flow. It's an unfortunate reality. The brutality of it is, you know, use it as a means to become a better person. Walking now in silence with the recruits trailing behind, put him in mind of a war fought so long ago that most people currently serving the order had no memory of it at all. The insurgents. In the 2 brutal years he'd spent as barely more than a boy, learning exactly what his own strength was for. That conflict threatened a handful of countries,
At its absolute worst, 40 years later, what was gathering now threatened the species. He did not explain that kind of acceleration to himself, let alone the four Jokyus, barely old enough to understand what a warden actually risked each time an alert came through. Scale of the world and the beings inside of it, and the responsibility of the leaders and the ones with the power to make a change, right? And that is always the scariest point in the world, is the ones who will make the greatest change are generally the ones that, like, never have an opportunity to. Right? They have, like, the potential to make the greatest change, and then that's, that's not good for some people, so. Yep. Ads! Fuck ads! God damn ads. Why ads? I don't want them. If only I could go, I think it's like 6 months with less than 3 average viewership, then I would lose my affiliate, and then I wouldn't have ads anymore. So if only you could, like, skew the view count to just keep it at 1, then you never have to worry about ads.
But, I mean, it's also you can go to Kick, right? You can go to Kick, you can go to Rumble, you can go to Twitter. There are other options. Fuck Twitch. Hey, and I wouldn't even consider Twitch the main thing. The whole thing is putting the streams on YouTube. And the reason I don't stream on YouTube anymore is because you pull up the wrong fucking soundtrack or the wrong video for 2 seconds and the entire fucking stream crashes. But if you just upload it with the content, it just doesn't let it go public. So I just upload the streams and let YouTube decide whether it wants people to be able to watch it. That's why there's, like, if I watched a movie or something like that, right, then it's not going to be public. But it's not going to flag my account with a DMCA. Because I think I still have 1 strike on my account. I don't know how long it lasts. And I'm like, I'm not having my fucking YouTube fucking account deleted because of some bullshit. So I just don't stream on YouTube anymore. 3, 2, 1, talk.
And again, it's like your way of getting into the character's head and them having, like, conversations with themselves. I fucking love that shit. Because it gives the opportunity of the back and forth mentally of the character, right? And you get to see, like, their inner, like, mental decision making, right? Why they do what they do. Super important. That's, like, evaluating motivation and, like, assessing, like, arc changes, right? Turned back to the dormitory door. Rest. Told him gently in the order strictly needed to be. Whatever happens next, it isn't tonight. It isn't yours yet. Go. They went. He watched them go, murmured one more quiet word to whoever might be listening, turned his own steps toward the white building waiting at the top of the hill. Amaterasu walked with her staff gripped tight enough that her knuckles, long since gone pale. Chin level, spine straight, every outward sigh of a warden with her nerves entirely under control. Was, like most things about her these days, a performance. She'd received the message with everyone else.
Same spare handful of words that had apparently reached every corner of the order within the hour, and had done what these messages always did to her now. Dropped straight through whatever composure she'd built and landed directly on the memories she worked hardest to keep buried. 6 months since one of Zora Ark's lieutenants had draped an illusion over her dead brother's body and walked it towards her, wearing his face, his voice. Everything she'd have sworn down to her bones was really him, right up until it was far too late to matter. 6 months since she'd hesitated at exactly the wrong half-second, certain the thing in front of her simply couldn't be what her training was screaming it had to be. Paid for that hesitation with a wound that should have finished her on the spot. Only Psycho Kami happened to be within reach. Kept that story from ending the same way Ryuji's just had. So it's like it's going through all the characters and like giving their comparisons towards it, right? It's like such a big moment, right? That everyone has to have their time responding to. And it's like, because it's like, I'm guessing if you've read before, you've kind of known about some of these things, but this is like the full reveal of the full depth of the mental state of like all of the fucking wardens. And it just like reorganizes your thoughts on what they are. Because it's like they're like presented as like infallible like pillars of like eternity. Like these things are so strong and unbelievable, nothing could ever stop them. And now that one's dead, everyone's looking back at the moments when they could have died, the mistakes that they made, how they have like, you know, gotten to this point, and being like, is this gonna be the last time? So good. You gotta take some time for that, right? This is a fucking important moment. So slowing down and working on the pacing. We were talking about like knowing the moment in time in the story when you need to change the pacing. It's not about the sustained pacing, it's about the change of pacing. And it's like for each character, they're on their own level with it, right? Which is like, Low Punny is like, oh my god, the entire battle, right? Which is a little bit faster paced. And it's like a little bit slower paced with the other guy, I can't remember his name. He's talking about the kids. And now her being like, you know, his was a little bit on the less side, right? Now it's like each one we go into, we get more and more detail and like deeper into it, because there's some you still want to live tidbits of information that haven't been revealed yet, right? She didn't feel like a warden most days. I felt like someone still owed debt she hadn't figured out how to repay. Earning titles she hadn't fully earned back yet. You're doing the face again. Zagamara fell into step beside her without any particular hurry, though his usual easy drawl had a thinner edge to it tonight. One he probably didn't realize was showing. He'd gotten the same message she had, if the tightness at the corners of his eyes was any indication. It cost him something too. However well, he generally kept that sort of thing off his face. Black hair, tipped in dark green, caught what little light the corridor offered. The deliberately theatrical cut of his uniform was closer to 45 than any of the younger recruits guessed. And nothing on his face gave. In his face gave. What face? She said. It wasn't a denial so much as a delay. The one where you decide you're the reason something bad happened, then spend the next several hours proving it by acting like you've already lost before you've started. Said it without much heat. Straighten up, Amaterasu. Whatever's waiting in that room isn't gonna wait for you to finish feeling sorry for yourself first. It's like, you know, one of those things of being like heavy-handed but not hard, right? Because it's like, hey, bitch, you're acting selfish. We all feel the same way. We got to get in fucking work mode. Lock in here, Ming. It wasn't gentle. She suspected he'd chosen it that way on purpose. I'm not. She started and stopped because they both already knew exactly what she was. You're a warden, Nagamara said instead, simply, like the words settled something. Start acting like it now. Not after you feel like you've earned it back.
Nobody in that room is going to hand you the confidence, kid. You're going to have to walk in wearing it, whether it fits yet or not. She didn't answer him, but her grip on the staff eased fractionally, and her spine found an inch more height. It had nothing to do with performance this time. Together they kept walking toward whatever Kaito gathered them all to hear. Road to headquarters ran pale and straight beneath the last of the moonlight. Garchomp matched her pace to her trainers without needing to think about it. At the gate, she stopped. Something in her posture eased. Wait here. Not quite a command, though it would have carried the same weight as one from almost anyone else. From her to him, it's closer to a request wrapped in old habit. This one's wardens only. You know how it goes. He nodded, already settling into the low wall beside the gate the way he had a dozen times before, and a dozen gates just like it. Didn't ask what the meeting was about. Didn't ask how long it would take. Learned a long time ago not to expect answers to either question before she had them herself. I mean, yeah, at that point you're just asking rhetorical questions, because it's like, well, we're going in there to learn the information. Well, why are we going in there? We don't fucking know. Shut the fuck up. God damn. She lingered a moment longer than she strictly needed to. Still doesn't sit right with me, she said, half to him and half to the dark stretch of road behind him. Every warden, every psycho can still walk, all of us, in one building at the same time. Everything outside these walls left standing on whatever's left of the local garrisons. She shook her head, the motion sending a low rattle through the plates along her jaw. Whatever's happened, it has to be bad enough that leaving the whole country half blind looked like the smaller risk. Yeah, I mean, because, like, they have means of communication, right? So it's like, if this was just a delivery of information, they could just send the information to, like, every warden, right? But the fact that they're gathering everyone, in my opinion, right, is because they don't know what to do. So they need everyone there to put all of their heads together to be like, and like, you know, like the turn-based, like, communications of, like, texting and then having, like, 50 different people all texting where you have, like, 50 people in a room just, like, talking. It's like, yeah, we are so fucked and desperate, we need to just figure fucking something out. So let's take all the greatest minds, even if we have to take them off their posts. And we kind of have an idea that, like, you know, the threat's been pushed back, so let's say we have this small space of time to gather everyone together and be like, alright guys, here's what happened, what do we fucking do? The trainer didn't have an answer for that, because there wasn't a comforting one to give, but a hand against the rough scale of her foreleg instead, brief and steady. Just come back, he said. Whatever it is, however it goes in there, come back. She held his gaze a moment. Something unreadable and entirely genuine passing behind her eyes. Turned toward the gate without making any promise she wasn't certain she could keep. At home in the small house at the edge of town, that never quite stopped feeling like a minor miracle to him. Yaskarada let Yui fuss over the clasps of his uniform, even though his own claws could have managed them faster and cleaner than her unsteady fingers. He let her do it anyway. She needed the motion more than he needed the speed. "We'll eat something before you go," she said, not quite a question, already reaching for the small parcel of food she put together the moment the alert came through. Her hands hadn't stopped moving since packing, checking, refastening things that didn't need refastening. "I'll eat something before I go," he agreed, mostly to give her the small satisfaction of being right. I'm gonna fucking sneeze and blow my fucking head off. Just don't sneeze. Just fucking don't sneeze. Just... She finished the last clasp and stayed where she was instead of stepping back, both hands still resting flat against his chest. For a moment, neither of them said anything at all. You feel more than see the effort it cost her to keep her voice steady when she finally spoke again. "I'm back whole," she said. "I'm back safe. I don't care what they ask you to do out there. I just, please, whole and safe, both." Closed the distance she'd left between them and pulled her in, easily the top of her head fitting just beneath his chin. He held on a moment longer than strictly necessary. "Go away! Sneeze, go away!" "I'll be fine," told her, quiet and certain. Strong, even. "You know that better than almost anyone does. It's gonna be the thing that changes it." She pulled back just far enough to look up at him. Whatever fear had been building behind her expression all evening finally cracked the rest of the way through. "Strong people are dying," she said. "I keep hearing it. The warden fell tonight. Another one a few months before that. They were strong too. Meowie. All of them were. Please don't let that be the thing that convinces you it won't happen to you." I mean, yeah, that's totally fair, right? Arrogance. The last thing you want is arrogance to be your downfall. Right? He held her face gently between both hands, thumbs brushing just beneath her eyes. Whatever had been left of a performance in his expression settled into something with no performance left in it at all. "I won't," he said. "I'm not like them." Dude, that's like the most Dude, that's like, what? That's like That's the worst thing you can say! She's like, all these strong people are dying. Please, just be careful and don't act arrogant. And he's like, "Oh, it won't. I'm not like them." What's up? What you got? Like, it's his wife, right? She's like, "Please don't act arrogant. Please don't act like you can't die, because, like, really powerful people have died." And he's like, "I'm stronger than them. Don't worry about me." After just promising that he gonna regret. I know, Meow. I know he gonna regret. I'm like, nope. Even his wife can't change his arrogance. Even after, like, begging him. You worry too much. So good. Stepped back before she could answer, gathering the parcel of food. And he's even gonna leave before she can say anything! Oh, man. Just passing by. Gotta get up early for this long drive back home. No worries, what? It might be an early stream. I am struggling here. Yeah. Feels like my eyes are exploding. My fucking throat is fucking super sore. But, hey. I didn't stream yesterday. I gotta stream today, right? It's my fault. I didn't drink, like, fucking any water all day. I just fucking lay in bed because I just felt like shit. And now that, like, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, now not just maybe my head hurts so much that I didn't realize that my stomach hurt. Because now I'm like, why does my fucking stomach hurt? God damn it, why? Okay, let's just go back to let's get through the story, okay? Step back before she could answer, gathering the parts of the food and the last of his gear in one smooth motion, already turning toward the door and whatever was waiting for him on the other side of it. Inside headquarters, the corridors held a hush. Every occupant was thinking the same unpleasant thought at once. Lucario walked them as his usual unhurried pace. Daigami beside him, two of them trading a low exchange. There's no version of this where we don't end up at Dragon Spiral Tower, Lucario said. I am a signature who's unmistakable. She's active again. That's where the trail starts. Whatever else turns into after.
Dragon Spiral Tower? Is that like her, oh wait, no, that, I was thinking of, Akame and her, like, third space thing. I'm like, is that, or, you know, her pocket dimension. That's the wrong character, though, right? She's active again. That's where the trail starts. Whatever else it turns into after. Like, exhaled through his nose. Something between a sigh. That's like Dialga Palace. Okay. Dialga Place. Okay. Something about... Oh my god. Reading it is fine, but I keep, like, moving my eyes around to go back, and it is causing me to become super dizzy. I just need to, like, keep focused on the fucking page. That's where the trail starts. Whatever else it turns into after. Megami exhaled through his nose. Something between a sigh and a laugh, with nothing funny left inside it. I was hoping you'd tell me I was wrong about that. I'd like to be wrong about it. Lucario's voice stayed level. It isn't a place I have any wish to see again. It simply happens to be necessary. Which cowards never once cared about my preferences either way. I've only been there once, I admitted. Years ago, before I made Warden. I'd heard the stories about you by then. Everyone had. The tower itself felt dead. Oh. I'd heard stories about you by then. Everyone had. The tower itself felt dead. Whatever it used to be, red, is inactive. I assumed it had stayed that way. It has. For 50 years. Lucario's gaze went somewhere Daigamis couldn't follow. Fixed on a point well past the wall in front of them. What I saw in that tower. What happened to the people standing beside me when it happened? I wouldn't wish it on another living soul if I had any choice left in the matter. Weren't they like basically black holed? Like, just like literally like folded in on themselves and like crushed into like a fucking ball. I let a breath pass before he went on. Quieter now. Words less for Daigami and for something further away than either of them. I am in. At long last, our paths converge again. There. I will discover whether I was always meant to become a vessel, or if fate itself can yet be rewritten. Daigami's ears caught it first. A faint, unhurried scuff of boots on stone. Unbothered about being heard. For somehow more unsettling than if it had been trying for silence. Turned half a step ahead of Lucario. One hand drifting toward his spear out of pure reflex. Before he placed who it was, and let it fall again. I say this a lot because, like, it is what it is, right? I recognize your footsteps, old man. Gurney Halleck. You two make for grim company before dinner. Tatsuya ambled into step beside them. Gray had long since claimed his temples. And though he couldn't have been much past 40, exhaustion had carved another decade onto him that no birth record would ever admit to. His eyes, when they slid over to Lucario, were unbothered, smelled of cheap whiskey, older cigarettes, flask-shaped weight in his jacket pocket, about as subtle as the rest of him, which was to say, not remotely. The last time a member of the Trinity shoved its face outside of legend, it took 3 strongest energy users alive to put it back down. Pokemon and human both. Not a comforting bit of history to be quoting at you, I know. Wish I had a better one handy. Then, we bring everyone, Daigami said immediately. The earlier weight in his voice sharpened into something more decisive. Every warden who can hold a weapon, every psycho,
we end this properly this time instead of feeding it one name at a time. The only problem is the more people you have on the battlefield, the more crossfire you have, the more problem you have with synergy, the more people get in other people's way. Right? A battle of attrition. On one side, at least. Tatsuya shook his head, unhurried. Like he'd expected, the suggestion had already decided against it before dying. God, let me finish making it. You're staying at base. I'm what? Staying at base. He said it again, exactly the same, patient, yet making it worse. His jaw tightened. Calm that usually sat over him like a second skin, fraying visibly at the edges. I'm rank 1, Tatsuya. You're rank 3. If we're sending strength at this, I'm the strength you send. You are. Tatsuya didn't dispute it. It somehow landed harder than if he had. You're also 20-something, and you've never once had to watch your own composure crack wide open in front of something that wanted it to. I have. More than once. It's not an insult, it's just how it is. Experience buys things, ranks can't. And out there, keeping your head is worth more than another ounce of raw output. Again, like getting in people's way and like being like not being able to synergize with people and stuff like that. It's like, what happens if he uses his ultimate attack and kills 3 of the fucking wardens? Right? Oof. You may be powerful, but can you like have presence on the map, right? In a way. And it's like, you could save him for last afterwards, right? But it's like, that's definitely a good explanation, right? Of being like, you're gonna see shit that you've never seen before, and if you let your guard down and they actually wind up killing you because, yeah, but don't worry, they have quarter range. Yeah. But it's the thought of it, right? He pulled a half-smoked cigarette from between his teeth long enough to exhale off to one side. More to courtesy than any real concern for either of their lungs. Here's the part you're not going to like. I'm more expendable than you are. But Tsukami is, too. If it ever actually came down to a choice, I gave up pretending any of us in this line of work are the heroes a long time ago. Kid, some of us are just more useful to lose than others. And I made my peace with which one I am a while back. Yeah, because it's like, so if a young person is stronger by miles than an older person who has the experience and qualifications, imagine how strong that person would be if they were given the 25 years to catch up. And you don't want to just throw them on the battlefield at 20, have them die, and lose all of that potential. Especially if, like, that's something you're gonna have to, like, hide in the shadows of the idea of, like, something like, Goku Black. Or the androids, or something like that in, like, Dragon Ball, right? Where it's, like, you're, like, Trunks, like, or whoever, right? Like, living in this, like, destroyed fucking world, right? But it's like the fact that that allows you to stay alive and you were, like, shielded to stay alive means that you're, like, the comeback potential in the future. So they can't risk having you die. So I go. Breeze picks up every warden duty on the board while we're out. She already knows. She's rank 5. She can carry it. But we need to be in the air inside the hour. Not standing here, relegating my qualifications. Taigami didn't answer right away. Something moved behind his expression. Too complicated to read cleanly. Anger. Still. Threaded through now with something closer to grief at being told. Again. That his own strength wasn't the kind of strength that got to matter here. Ricardo let the silence hold a moment before he spoke. Mild in a way that closed the subject without pretending it hadn't been raised at all. This goes as badly as it could, he said. We'll need to call Cinderace and Greninja. Whatever else is true about them now. They were there the first time. That counts for something the rest of us simply don't have. Tatsuya's laugh came up short, entirely without humor in it.
If it gets to the point where we're pulling 2 retirees back to the field, that's not a bad day, Lucario. That's the actual emergency. Even at their absolute prime, the 2 of them barely scraped into Psycho range. Whatever's waiting for us at that tower. Let's try very hard not to need them. They need everything and everyone, unfortunately. And that is the power that you face. In the conference room at the top of the building, Kaido sat alone at the head of the obsidian table in the seat that had, for longer than he cared to think about, rarely stayed empty for more than a few minutes before some crisis or another filled it back up with people. Tonight, it would fit twice over. Every warden the order still had, every psycho who could be spared, funneled into one room because there was no longer any version of caution left to let them do otherwise. The young Jokyu stood near the door, present mostly to run whatever errands the night still demanded. Kaido found himself talking to her without entirely deciding to. Last time Giratina walked free, said, eyes fixed on the dark, empty surface of the table rather than on her. Didn't fight a war. He didn't need to. Simply erase cities between one sunrise and the next. Called that salvation. Shook his head slowly. Dialga is active again. And we now have a body in a burned patch of ground that says she is. And Palkia and Giratina won't be far behind her. They never have been. And if the 3 of them somehow find their way back to full strength, together, at the same time, Zoroark has an empire of dominated Pokemon at his back, and Zeraora, standing beside him, restored to everything she used to be. He let the sentence go unfinished. Finishing it meant saying the thing out loud. Some things were true enough already, without needing confirmation of his own voice. It's like having, like, Thanos, Darkseid, and Galactus, like, all attack Earth at the same time. Let the sentence go unfinished. Finishing it meant saying the thing out loud. Some things were true enough already without needing the confirmation of his own voice. And there won't be a beacon order left standing to write the next report. He said instead, quieter. There won't be much of anything left standing at all. The Jokyu said nothing. Because there was nothing to say. Inside the sealed doors, sound of the first wardens arriving had already begun to echo up through the stairwell. Fuck. It was only one. It was only one. Damn. No, I was totally solid there, Meow. I don't even know what to say. Like, the character presentation, fucking beautiful. The background of the characters, the stakes, the motivations of all the characters, their determination, the knowing of, like, might be their final battle, and then, like, escalating the stakes of being like, even if we can't defeat this, there's still 2 more we're gonna have to deal with. It does such a good job of, like, especially in chapter 1, starting out so chill, and then, like, chapter 2 is just like shit hit the fan. And I think each person's, like, length, style, pacing, and, like, atmosphere, like, their emotional state of where, like, and how that, like, has changed, and, like, how, you know, some of them seem to be people that are crumbling and falling apart at the seams, and others are just like, here we go again. Another changing of the guard moment. Alright, all us old guys go out and fucking die so we can save all the kids.
That's just the way it be, man. And it's like, normally I like pride myself on the ability to be like, well, you could have capitalized on this and you could have done this, and I feel like you, like, you know, didn't do that. I don't even think I can say anything like that like this. Right? Where it's like, well, there might have been this one small moment where you could have actually, you know what? There is something I can say, and that's like the transition between the characters. That's actually the one thing that I'm like, I think that needs a little bit more of a like solid differentiation. Because it was like, paragraph ends, new paragraph is new character, without like ever explaining or saying that we've moved to a new character. Yeah, it might be too harsh of a transition. My suggestion would be make a link of the characters. So the last thing that the person does in their scene is mention the next person in some way, shape, or form. And then have, like, that person's response be thinking about the other person. And then it's a clear shift of the characters. If you could find a way to do that in a line as you go through each of the characters, which would also strengthen how those characters are connected together, right? You know, how would, like, for instance, how would this person feel? Like, the person who, like, the person who lost his wife going to the person who lost her brother, right? Like, use a thought connection between that of, like, him thinking, man, I lost my wife, but then this person also lost their brother, and her being like, well, I lost my brother, but this guy also lost his wife. Something like that, right? I think that is, like, the best I can go for saying, like, how to, like, make the transition a little bit easier, other than just saying who the next person is, right? I think that would just be a good style technique that would give the reader enough information without just stating that you're moving to a new perspective. But I wouldn't say I'm 100% on my game right now. And I'm probably just going to end the fucking stream because I do not feel good. And it's probably because I haven't eaten all day. Because I was, like, so hungover that I was, like, too sick to eat. I need to go, like, eat something. I need to, like, relax, I think. But thanks for sharing, Meow. We'll be back again tomorrow. And I know it's a super short stream, guys. I'm fucked up. It's just a hangover. I drank like 5 beer yesterday. I don't remember coming home. I just remember waking up, going and puking in the middle of the night. It was not fun. And I was just like, couldn't sleep, I was too dizzy. So I had to like, I was watching like random movies and like YouTube videos to like keep myself going, right? So I'm also fucking tired as shit. But anyways, we'll be back better tomorrow for sure. You know, it is what it is. We'll recuperate. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Never stop being you. Never stop creating. Never stop spreading your ideas. Never stop sharing. Never stop believing in yourself. You're amazing. I believe in you. And as always, if you can't say fuck you to your friends, who can you say fuck you to? Fuck you. Alright, who are we raiding today? Where we going, what we at, what we got, I see where we go, what we be for what we are, yes, here. Alright, Alright, here we go. Get your user ready. We'll see you on the other side.
That, like, I want to get it in there so we know, but I don't want to catch it when anybody's reading it. What up, intoxication? Should you do another? We should do. There needs to be a. I want another streamer called inebriation. Don't have intoxication and inebriation in combination. That's stupid. In conversation? No, we're not feeling great. Well, at least, you know, your name. Staying true to that name. Yeah, no, you ready to run. That's cool. I hope you had a good stream. I need food. That's fair. So if I just go with catching his breath, I'm good then. I moved past it and we're through it. On our way over, Marcus Blue, why is the cat black? Yeah, let's just say it. I'd love to move on. That's gonna bother me, but I'm like looking at like it's not that important. Not that important. Save it for the edit. That one you can. Catch twice, fine. If anything, I'm just cutting it. If anything, I'm cutting it. It's just a save from the doorway. You can open it. Like that's the alternative.
Alright, guys. Fuck you. See you in the next one. Peace.